AI is about to change forever for entrepreneurs, for professionals, for anyone looking to use AI to help them make more money, save time, and improve their lives. But most people are completely in the dark and they are going to get left behind. I know this because I spend every day deep in the trenches of AI, testing AI tools at my 8-figure tech startup, building automation systems, and helping businesses integrate AI into their actual revenue-generating processes. And I'm starting to pick up on specific trends and patterns that you need to understand if you want to get ahead of 99% of people. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you the 8 biggest AI shifts that I'm seeing right now and what I'm predicting for the future, along with how you can capitalize on every single one of them. Shift number 1 is AI SEO is here. The shift is massive, and most people have no idea that it's happening right now. We've officially entered the era of AI SEO, and if you capitalize on this shift, it'll be like capitalizing on Google search results in the early 2000s. When someone goes and asks ChatGPT, what's the best marketing automation tool? And ChatGPT responds, and it has links to your website in the response, that's AI SEO in action. And this isn't about optimizing for search engines anymore. This is about optimizing for AI answers. Before I go into tactical ways you can capitalize on this, there are 3 reasons why this shift is happening right now. The first is that people are starting to trust AI results more, which means higher conversion rates. A recent report from Profound outlined that companies are reporting traffic from AI search converts 5 to 10 times higher than normal Google traffic. This is free traffic that's converting at rates we've never seen before. The second is that we've reached a critical mass of AI users. If you look at every new technology, it follows the same adoption pattern. You have innovators and early adopters, which accounts for the first 15% of users. Then you have early majority and late majority, which accounts for about 70% of users. Right now, for basic AI prompts, we are somewhere in the early majority and late majority section. And what this means is that most people are now actually using it. And the third reason, and this maybe is the most obvious, Google has started having an AI overview that literally sits at the top of Google's search responses, in some way cannibalizing their own search results. And we're seeing the innovator's dilemma play out in real time. But AI SEO is different than the traditional SEO game. So what are the things that you need to know? Well, in a recent study, it found that over 90% of AI search citations are coming from .com or .org domains. So if you're running on an .ai, .io, or .co domain, it may be worth reconsidering your domain. Also, different AI platforms have completely different citation patterns. ChatGPT loves Wikipedia, citing that 7.8% of the time versus the next closest, Reddit, having 1.8% of the citations. But if you look at something like Perplexity, that's pulling 6.6% of its citations from Reddit and 2% from YouTube. And Wikipedia isn't anywhere to be found. Different AI tools have different AI citation patterns. So what should your game plan be? First, I'd identify the platform you want to optimize for. For example, I use Claude for all my writing, and this is how a lot of people use it. So if I was an AI writing company, I'd strategically place where I write my blogs, articles, etc. on the websites that Claude references from the most. Now, one thing that I did notice was that Reddit is surprisingly high amount of citations across all models. This tells me that if you're not using Reddit for AI SEO, you're missing a massive opportunity. This shift alone could transform your business, but if you don't figure out how to capitalize on this next one, you could be sitting on the sidelines while one of the biggest wealth transfer opportunities passes you by. Shift 2 is LLMs are out and SLMs are in, and this is a $1 trillion+ opportunity. Okay, that sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. AI models like ChatGPT use what are called large language models, or LLMs. In the near future, you'll start using small language models, or SLMs. The key difference between the LLMs and the SLMs is that SLMs are specifically scoped to exactly what you're doing, whereas LLMs are good at everything. And the reason for this shift is that SLMs can be cheaper and more effective. Okay, think of it like looking for ingredients for a recipe. Call it rigatoni bolognese. An LLM is like a massive grocery store. You have to find the right aisle, locate the section, then search for the specific products. An SLM is like your organized kitchen pantry. You know exactly where everything is and can see instantly if you have what you need. Sure, the grocery store has all the ingredients you could ever want, but I don't need all of that, and walking through the aisles takes time and energy. It's the same with LLMs and SLMs, just you're not making rigatoni bolognese. But this isn't just a simple technical upgrade. It's completely rethinking of how AI systems should work. Instead of one massive model trying to handle every possible task, we're moving towards networks of smaller, specialized models that work together. And this could make these tools 10 to 100x more efficient. So what does this tell me when I'm reading between the lines? We are moving from generic AI tools that work for every use case to specifically and tightly scoped AI tools. And there's a couple of ways to take advantage of this. First, as people start to learn learn that there can be cheaper and faster ways to get the answers they're looking for. They will be looking for different tools, not just the ChatGPTs of the world. And for this exact reason, you have a chance to capitalize on a $1 trillion opportunity. Let me explain. There's about 1 billion people on the planet who can afford $100 per month on AI tools. That's $1.2 trillion annually. So if you anticipate they'll spend $20 on ChatGPT and $20 on something like Claude, there's about $60 up for grabs that will be allocated to specific use case products. If you can find a way into someone's monthly AI budget, you will make a ton of money. And this is happening right now. A high schooler literally made over $30 million by building Cal.ai. This is an AI calorie tracker for weight loss. It used a hyper-specific capability of AI, taking a photo of a plate of food and then estimating the calories on that plate. One specific problem, a massive market. So think about these problems that people may have and how you can solve them. The second is there will be an AI agent designed for your specific industry and use cases. So be on the lookout for specific products so that you can be using the right tool for the right job. For example, at my company, we don't use ChatGPT Agent, which is a general agent, and I'll dive into that in the next use case. We don't use that for coding tasks. We use Devin, a software engineering agent, specific agent for a specific use case. And migrating from LLMs to SLMs is going to open the door for people everywhere to capitalize. But if you don't understand this next shift, frankly, you will not be able to capitalize. Shift 3. We're moving from work 2.0 to work 3.0. We're now at shift 3 of 8, and it is one of the most fundamental changes in how work gets done since the internet went mainstream. Let me break this down. Work 1.0 was traditional org charts in an office. Everyone showed up, sat at desks, followed hierarchical command structures. Work 2.0 opened up the digital workspace that allowed people to work remotely, and this enabled companies to hire offshore talent. But Work 3.0 is fundamentally different. AI tools are literally taking the roles of people, not overseas workers. This is changing the org chart once again. You're going to have a few human employees managing dozens of AI agent employees. This isn't humans using AI tools, this is AI systems operating as independent team members. And the reason this shift is happening right now comes down to 3 critical factors. The first is that there's a massive pressure to show ROI on AI investments. A recent MIT study found that only 5% of AI pilots actually went to production. That means companies have kept these projects in development mode, but there's mounting pressure from executives and boards to see returns on the billions invested in AI initiatives, which means the pilot phase is over. It's time to either deploy or abandon these projects. The second is that AI capabilities have finally crossed what I call the production threshold. For the past 2 years, most AI use cases were stuck in development mode, mostly because the quality wasn't there. AI images weren't quite good enough for mainstream use. AI videos looked obvious and fake. AI writing was clearly robotic. But from what I'm seeing, these tools are now production ready. And I can speak to this firsthand in my company. We've been experimenting with Devin, an AI agent software engineer, for the past year. When we first started using it, Devin could maybe write a simple function or fix basic bugs. Each month since then, the amount of production code it produces has increased drastically. What used to require multiple human engineers can now be handled by one person, integrating and providing oversight and strategic direction to these Devin AI employees. And the third is the cost to capability ratio is starting to hit a tipping point. As we shift away from the LLMs to SLMs, like I touched on an earlier shift, the cost for these products goes down. And what we're having is a perfect storm of better AI outputs paired with cheaper products, which means AI is about to get deployed into the real world. So how can you prepare for this transition? The truth is, the shift hasn't quite yet happened. Like all these shifts, these are about to happen. So you're in a good spot, but you have to pay attention. As we migrate from Work 2.0 to Work 3.0, I would start thinking about how you can adopt a manager mindset. Think about which part of your job can be delegated to AI agents to be completed. Instead of thinking like an employee, think of yourself like a manager, where you have to orchestrate these AI tools to produce an output that you would normally do yourself. The second is begin experimenting with AI workflow tools like N8N. People who master AI orchestration early will become the managers in the Work 3.0 world. And the third is I'd focus on developing skills that complement AI rather than competing with it. Strategic thinking, complex problem solving, relationship building. These become more valuable, not less, in this new Work 3.0 world. And if you're looking to start a business, I would understand where the world is going, Work 3.0, and organize your structure accordingly. Before hiring an employee, consider hiring an AI employee. And now this work transformation is creating massive opportunities, but it's also destroying entire careers. And that's because of this next shift. Shift 4 is the new opportunity space. This shift is both scary and exciting. AI has fundamentally changed what's possible for individuals to accomplish, opening doors to fields that were previously locked behind technical skills. And this isn't the first time it's happened, but this time it looks a lot different. In 2020, I built a startup called Banter, where we took podcasts and automatically clipped these into smaller segments. For example, if there was a football podcast, we would clip a section where they were talking about the Eagles, then the Chiefs, etc., essentially making a TikTok for podcasts. But the problem was it wasn't easy to identify segments from a transcript, and as a result, the product failed. But now, with AI, this is actually easy to do, and we could now build this product without issue. This is just one example of possibilities, and I'll elaborate on how you can think about this, but first you need to understand the downside of this. While you can now enter fields that you previously weren't able to do, your existing expertise also provides less protection than it used to. I'm a software engineer by trade. I'm good, but there's a reason I'm not the CTO of my tech startup. My skills as a software engineer aren't much better than what AI can produce right now. It's uncomfortable to admit, but it's the reality. So how do you navigate this new opportunity space without becoming replaceable? First, I'd be realistic with your current expertise. Think of it like a level system. AI has eliminated the need for level 1 and even level 2 technical skills. This is why we're seeing a lot of entry-level jobs disappear. So be real and try and understand where you sit. Are your skills worth doubling down on? Or do you want to try and be an expert automator? Or you can do both. And don't just defend your existing skills. Expand into areas that were previously off limits. The second is expand your ambition. Look for opportunities that AI has now allowed you to consider. A solo entrepreneur can now compete with entire agencies. A single content creator can produce at the scale of media companies. Someone with domain expertise but no technical skills can build software products that would have required entire development teams. Something I think a lot about is putting yourself in a position to get lucky. There's a saying, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And in this case, we know that certain AI models are going to get better at things like image generation and video generation. So a specific use case in this realm isn't possible today. It will likely be available in the future. So ask yourself, what AI feature do I think will be available in 6 months, and how could I build something so I'm ready to take advantage of it? By removing the requirement for technical skills, it is creating incredible opportunities, but it's also making everything easier to copy. Which brings us to the 5th shift. Shift 5, the copycat era. This is fundamentally changing the competitive landscape. We've entered the copycat era where anybody can recreate your idea in minutes. In software, you can build copycat websites in seconds by uploading screenshots to vibe coding tools. In e-commerce, you can replicate entire campaigns instantly. In content creation, successful formats get copied overnight. Here's a concrete example. Let's say I wanted to start a liquid death competitor with added electrolytes. I could launch an identical website, swap my product into their exact ad formats, and start running sales campaigns before manufacturing a single can. The reason this is possible? AI outputs are officially indistinguishable from professional work, and resource constraints no longer matter. If you had one designer before, you couldn't experiment with new formats. Now AI generates unlimited variations instantly. So how do you navigate this copycat era? You need to understand 2 things: network effects and defensibility. Network effects happens when a product becomes more valuable as more people use it. I create YouTube videos not because it's the only platform, but because that's where the established network of viewers exists. YouTube's moat isn't their technology. Any company can build a video platform. Their advantage is that all the creators are there, which attracts all the viewers, which attracts more creators. That's the network effect, and it's nearly impossible to replicate even with better technology. Now, are you going to make the next YouTube? Probably not. So how does this relate to you? I'll get to that, but first I want to explain defensibility. This is about creating something that can't easily be copied. For example, here is a viral TikTok video, really well made and pretty fire. But you'll notice it's entirely faceless. So as a result, there's no barrier of entry for this to be recreated, and it isn't defensible. And what happens overnight is hundreds of similar style channels are created. Instead, if there was a specific person or even a distinctive AI avatar which had a unique personality, that character becomes much harder to replicate because the viewers have a connection with that entity and they've established some sort of trust. That's defensible. So we understand network effects and defensibility. Now, how can you combat this in the copycat era? What I would do is double down on your human-to-human connection. If you have a network of individuals who trust you, you start establishing a network effect that's valuable. And in my eyes, products are no longer a moat. The network is, or your ability to distribute the product to people that trust you, which is why personally I've started to focus on YouTube, because I want to build a connection and a trust with everyone watching. The copycat era isn't just about competition. It's about understanding that in a world where everything can be replicated instantly, businesses have to be able to move and adapt quickly. And this next shift outlines why we're going to see a massive wave of AI adoption in the near future. Shift 6, every company is an AI company. Just like when the internet emerged and suddenly every business had become a tech company, the same thing is happening right now with AI. All companies are slowly becoming AI-driven companies. And saying we use AI as a business differentiator will soon be like saying we use the internet. It's not special anymore, but it is absolutely required. But this didn't happen overnight, and it's still taking time for massive corporations to shift to this. And there's a very clear reason for why this happens. I think of businesses a lot like boats. Small startups are speedboats, and they can quickly change direction and move fast, but they don't create massive waves. Massive businesses, on the other hand, I'm talking the Apples and the Amazons of the world, are like cruise ships. They're much slower to adjust their course, and they don't move fast. But when they do, massive waves are made and everyone takes notice. And since ChatGPT first came on the scene at the end of 2022, we've had about 3 years of navigating this technology. And this is enough time for cruise ships to start turning. The enterprise AI strategies are being deployed, budgets are being allocated, and entire departments are beginning to restructure around AI capabilities. This means that 1, have to become proficient with AI, but more importantly, number 2, you have to be able to demonstrate that proficiency. As you know, I like to draw parallels to what happened in the internet era versus what's happening now in the AI era. In the internet era, when you wanted to showcase your programming proficiency, you had your GitHub profile, which showed the projects that you had contributed to and the code that you previously wrote. And you had people who had personal websites, which proved that you could launch a site and write code. Both showed your proficiency. They didn't tell the proficiency. And both of these things were pretty much needed if you wanted to get hired at a top engineering company. And now this is something that nobody's talking about, which is why you watch these videos. But in the AI era, I fully predict a similar thing will happen. You need to find a way to showcase your AI skills. Top CEOs are on record saying that they're hiring AI first employees. You need to prove your AI first. So how can you show, not tell? I would suggest adding a section to your resume listing publicly accessible automations you've built using tools like N8N to demonstrate your AI capabilities. And your ability to showcase these skills can make you an absolute must hire. So as major corporations start redirecting and fully becoming AI-powered companies, it's critical you find a way to flex your knowledge in this space. Just saying, I use ChatGPT isn't enough. And I hinted at this next shift when talking about the $1 trillion opportunities, and it's one of my favorite of the 8 shift, but it's also opening up an opportunity for a new wave of scams. Shift 7, customization at scale. This shift is enabling something that was impossible until now. AI allows brands to create hyper-customized products and experiences at massive scale, and in some cases, creating unique final products for individual people. And this isn't just personalized email subject lines anymore. We're talking about entirely different websites, products, and experiences tailored to each person who interacts with your brand. What used to require massive teams and budgets can now be done instantly with AI. Let me give you 2 examples. There's a company called Fable that's building an AI version of Netflix. It looks like Netflix, but all the shows are made with AI. And you aren't just watching AI movies. These are interactive experiences that are custom shows for each individual person. Why? And it's not just in the creative space. With the launch of Nano Banana, companies can make ads that are indistinguishable from real life, which means for little to no cost, you can make hyper-specific ads. A Gen Z who lives in New York City, here's an ad for you. A boomer for Wyoming, here's a version of an ad for you. And in the ads case, what used to require separate creative teams for each demographic now happens automatically. And in the AI Netflix case, this previously wasn't even possible. So what does this mean for you? Well, start thinking about ways you can customize what you're working on. If you have a product that serves different demographics, consider using tools like Nano Banana to make custom versions of the ads that you're running. If you have a website, consider making variations based on where customers come from. Someone from YouTube sees YouTube optimized copy. LinkedIn visitors get professional B2B focused content. And in this website case, the ability for AI to write code and generate website copy makes it that much easier. So the era of generic products is going to end. end. Because why wouldn't people want a product that feels like it was built specifically for them? The pro side is obvious, right? Individual marketing, perfectly tailored ads, and a product that solves your exact problems. It's clear. But here's the con that nobody's talking about. Hyper customization allows for things like scams to become incredibly sophisticated when they're personalized to your specific situation. Someone can create a perfectly tailored phishing email that references your job, your interests, and your recent activities. Someone can use a tool like 11 Labs to recreate your voice and call your parents asking for money. These use cases are not okay, but unfortunately, the line between legitimate personalization and manipulation will become very thin. This customization revolution is happening right now, but there's one final shift that could make everything we've covered either incredibly valuable or completely irrelevant. Shift number 8, superintelligence isn't science fiction anymore. AI superintelligence is coming, which means AI will be able to think and problem solve better than humans across virtually every domain. And this is sooner rather than later, and it's not just about AI getting incrementally better at specific tasks. We're talking about artificial intelligence that surpasses human cognitive abilities in every meaningful way. Scientific research, creative problem solving, strategic planning, even emotional intelligence and social reasoning. And if you don't believe this is coming soon, you likely don't understand how AI improves. Most people think about progress in straight lines. If AI improved by X this year, it'll improve by X amount next year. But that's not how AI works. As these tools get better, the AI actually learns how to train itself. And as it trains itself, it gets better. And as it gets better, it can train itself faster. It's a flywheel. You get the point. And unfortunately, or fortunately, the timeline estimates from leading AI researchers keeps getting shorter for when this actually will exist. What seemed like 20-year timeline just a few years ago is now being discussed in terms of 5 to 10 years, with some experts suggesting it could happen even sooner. This creates urgency around everything we've discussed in the previous shifts. The window for building AI native skills, businesses, and competitive advantages is shrinking rapidly. And for this shift specifically, my recommendation, don't be scared, but feel the urgency. I would have urgency in 2 specific categories: your approach to learning AI and your approach to caring about your health. Yes, your health. I'll get into that. The first may be obvious, but here's how I tackle it. I wake up at 4:50 a.m. creating AI content before running a tech startup. Not because I have to, but because I feel the urgency of staying ahead of this curve. In my eyes, as we shift towards superintelligence, this represents either the greatest opportunity or the greatest risk in human history. And I really don't think this is dramatic. And now the second thing, having urgency about your health. But AI won't just lead to technical improvements. In the next 5 to 10 years, AI will lead to more health breakthroughs than what we've had in the past 100+ years. And if you can stay healthy for the next 5 to 10 years, your life expectancy will drastically increase. And this is something that I tell my parents because they're getting older, and I know that massive improvements are around the corner due to things like superintelligence. Now, if you're new on this channel, you know that I like giving a bit more than what the title suggests. So in addition to the 8 shifts, I'm going to give you 2 pieces of tactical advice that apply to all 8 of these shifts that you have to understand. If you follow the right playbook, AI won't make you replaceable. You will become irreplaceable. And the 2 tactical strategies that I'm about to outline will help you become irreplaceable. But this is just a preview of the content that's part of my free 5-day email course that is all about making yourself irreplaceable with AI. If you click the first link in the description, you can join hundreds of other people who have learned about the 5 unique traps I see most people fall into when they think about AI replacing them. And I give a step-by-step playbook on how you can become irreplaceable. Again, 100% free, don't need any technical skills, and I guarantee you'll be glad you signed up. Enough of that, let's dive into the 2 tactical strategies that you need to take advantage of to capitalize on these 8 shifts I've covered. The first tactical strategy is understanding the post-AI impact equation. In the AI economy, you need to understand what actually has an impact on businesses. If you listen to CEOs of massive companies talk, they always use the word impact. And there's a reason for this. And that's because output doesn't mean anything. Just because you do a lot doesn't mean anything in an AI world where tasks and actions are actually getting commoditized. So what does impact look like? Well, here's the impact equation I've created and tell my whole team about this. Impact is equal to solutions identified times solutions delivered divided by time. Let me break down each variable and give you specific ways to optimize them starting today. Solutions identified is your ability to think critically, spot real problems, and create strategic plans to solve them. These are the people who push a business in the right direction. So how can you optimize this? Well, use AI as your thinking partner, not just a task executor. When facing any challenge, ask AI. You're an expert consultant in your field. Analyze the situation and identify the top 3 strategic opportunities I should focus on. This leverages AI's pattern recognition across massive data sets to identify solutions you might have not thought about. And this is just a tip of the iceberg, but you get the point. The next variable is solutions delivered. This is your ability to take that strategy and bring it to the finish line. The key insight is that solutions aren't single outputs. They're multiple tasks executed at a high level, combined strategically to create a valuable output. For this, I tell people to use the Henry Ford assembly line approach. Break complex projects into 3 to 5 individual components. Optimize each one with AI, then combine them all together. For example, if you're creating a client presentation, separate it into research, data analysis, design, and storytelling. Then use AI to enhance each component. The last variable is time. This is how quickly you can execute. In the AI world, speed is needed because if you aren't moving fast, other people are. And if you aren't using AI tools, you will fall behind. So the best way to increase your impact is to start integrating AI into everything that you do. And the best way to do this is what I call using forcing functions. These are things that force you to use AI. So my favorite is install ChatGPT Search as your browser plugin, so every search goes through AI. Now the magic happens when you optimize all 3 of these variables in that impact equation simultaneously. You're identifying solutions, you're bringing them to the finish line, and you're doing it fast and effectively. That's how you have a massive impact in this AI world. Now across all 8 of those shifts I mentioned, your ability to capitalize is measured on the impact you can have. By understanding these variables, you understand what actually moves the needle, and then you're able to have a larger impact. The second tactical strategy is about becoming a modern manager. The biggest mindset shift you need to make is going from executor to manager. Most people use AI like a glorified Google search when they should be building AI teams. Here's how you can adopt the manager mindset starting today. Picture yourself as a conductor in Carnegie Hall. You don't play the instrument, you orchestrate the entire performance. This is exactly how you need to think about AI. I have videos diving into this in more detail on my channel, but the key takeaway in understanding how to be a modern manager is knowing the difference between AI workflows and AI agents. AI workflows are like employees you train to do specific tasks perfectly every single time, but that requires high upfront training, but you get consistent results. AI agents are like independent employees who can think critically and solve problems. Low upfront training, but less predictable outcomes. To understand what I mean by a manager, I suggest you hire your first AI employee right after this video, or maybe after binging a lot of my videos. Anyway, go to ChatGPT and select agent mode. This is a new feature that's absolutely fire. You're going to create an AI agent that will serve as your own real estate agent. Prompt ChatGPT by saying, using Zillow, create a PDF overview of current 2-bed apartments under budget in your city with pros and cons, plus investment recommendations. You essentially just created your own AI employee that you can now manage. Then you can schedule it to run every week on Monday so you stay up to date with all the deals in your neighborhood. And this is the manager mindset, right? Which will unlock your ability to capitalize on these shifts that are about to happen. So these are all shifts that are happening right now, or they're coming very soon. But there are new tools already out that you have to use. One tool is ChatGPT Agent, which I touched on briefly, but that's just one of the use cases, which is why I made this video, which goes over 25 super useful use cases for ChatGPT Agent that most people don't know about. If you want to be on the cutting edge of AI and get ahead of everyone else, click and go watch that video right now. I'll see you over there. Peace.